Hey, what's up with that? Got a light that's out. Gotta get that fixed. It's kind of dark over there. But what's going on, you guys? Welcome back. This is part 15 of the S2000 upgrades. And on this part, we have a bunch of loose ends that we need to get knocked out. Stuff like supporting these vent lines right here, and tack welding the intake, tightening all the fuel lines, and wiring the IAT, just several things like that. And I did get myself a whiteboard because since I'm gone for work so much, I leave and I kind of forget where I left off, and I had to remember and look around. But I did make myself a list. As you can see, it's right here, and I have all these things right here that I gotta get knocked out. This will, with everything on this list done, the car will be ready to go. Should be. I do have one more thing that's not on this list that we'll see later on. And if you follow me on Instagram, you can see that. Grind to Garage is the Instagram name. But we'll just go over this real quick. What I have left to do. This one here I did finish actually. I need to check that off. That was the fuel line coming from the sensor to the fuel filter. So that one's done. And I need to tighten all the fuel lines everywhere. And I need to install plugs under the intake manifold. Actually just one plug and then one little pipe nipple, or one little nipple for the fuel pressure regulator sensing line. So it's pretty much easy so far. It's stuff like this that's pending. And I need to fill it up with coolant, check for leaks. And I need to support the crankcase vent lines, which I just showed you just a second ago. Need to insulate the air filter exposure. This one I've been kind of looking online. This is kind of what I'm talking about here. It's kind of hard for you to see it. I guess I can just take this off. I need to find some sort of seal against the housing and the air filter, because right here it's a little dark, but there's like a little gap right here. I was thinking about some foam, or I'm just kind of playing with different ideas online, but if I don't get to that right away, that's no big deal. It's not a deal breaker, but eventually I will do that. Okay, tack weld the intake piping is the next one. I need to remove the valve cover, and I want to, put some assembly lube on the camshafts, roll it over by hand, remove the spark plugs and whatnot. Once I get all lubed up, I'll crank it over without any plugs, just so there's no resistance, and to get everything lubed up again, get that oil pump going. I need to fill the gasoline, just enough to make it to the dyno, or make it through the dyno on gas, pump gas. I need to program the Haltech, the ID1000s and whatnot. I need to weld the IAT bung on the intake pipe. I need to install the throttle cable and support it somehow, which I think I have that one figured out. I have it pulled off right now because it would be in the way. Tighten up the air filter clamp. I need to wire in the IAT valve. I need to still need to fab a short ram intake, which that one should be easy. I need to call Injector Dynamics and ask them about the injector angles. And let me show you what I mean here. Some of these injectors, they kind of, you can just picture an injector going straight this way. The plug's on top, it's rotated this way a little bit. I just need to make sure that the spray pattern is the same no matter which rotation the injector is. The next one is I need to call Okada about dwell time on their coils. I did get those coils. I don't think you guys heard about it. I never really mentioned it, but I did on Instagram. I need to get the fuse back in for the fuel pump and the IO expander. I just have it pulled out because I didn't want the pump running while I was cycling the key on and off for something. I forgot what I was doing. Oh, the cluster. That's what I was doing. Route the crankcase lines under the car for easy service. That's pretty much just the drain lines for the crankcase vents. I did get some hose. I mentioned it earlier a while back on probably a few videos ago. It's just a rubber hose It goes down with a little valve, and you can open the valve and it'll drain the crankcase vent. That way you don't have to take the, because right now without that, just the plug in the bottom, I had to remove the whole canister, and that's not very easy right now the way it's set up. But I also need to clamp the fuel line to the solenoid, VTEC solenoid. That one's pretty easy. Right here, these are the clamps I got, 9/16 clamps. So I just need one of these, but they gave me the whole set. And then we come over here, I need to install the rear tray parts for the rear over the fuel pump. I got the little push lock clips. And you get those installed. That's easy. And I need to install the undertray of the car right underneath the radiator engine. Install the cooling plate and check for fuel leaks. And then eventually install the Skunk 2 decal right here. It's gonna be just like that. So, and I might have to like file these down, some of these down just a little bit, because like this one right here is sticking up, and the other ones are probably okay. It's just this is the one that's sticking up. But once we get that done, tune it. No particular order. I'm just gonna start, knocking things out one by one, and I'll be checking them off the whiteboard right there. And then finally we can set the car down on 4 wheels, and then I'm gonna get with my tuner, get online, then he's gonna remote set up the Haltech for me. That way I don't have to spend the time trying to figure that out, because I have too many things going on. I need to put brakes on the Civic, and I need to put some S2000 pedals on there as well. They're sitting over there. And another project that I haven't really got around to just yet, but we'll get to that later. But anyway, that's enough talking. We're gonna go ahead and begin on that list, and hopefully we'll get most of it knocked out today, if not a lot of the little things, because we know that stuff takes forever. much done so far. You saw me checking on the list, tighten all the fuel lines. I didn't have very many loose lines, but that's all done now. I also first thing I did was I put the plug in the manifold, the 1/8 inch plug. Had a hard time reaching it, but it's on there now. And I also got the nipple for the fuel pressure regulator, which that line is right here. This little vacuum line goes up from the bottom there. And then let's see, come down to right of the crankcase lines under the car for easy service. That's done. Those are those little clamps I put on there with those little quarter turn valves, red plastic handle valves. That's done. Clamp the fuel line to the VTEC solenoid. That's pretty good now. Now we're going to be messing with the throttle cable. It's kind of been in the way for quite some time. I'm gonna be pretty glad to finally put it on. I'm gonna have to go around the master cylinder just like this, kind of like the OEM was. The OEM had another clamp over here somewhere to hold this part of it, and then it came back around just like that. But this one's gonna be a little bit more of a tight radius bend like that, and it's gonna go into this little bracket right here. I have to probably remove this little rubber tip, this nut right here, and slide it through, wrap it around the throttle shaft, and then that part of it should be done already. I could probably fill it up with coolant, check for leaks. I just need to verify that the plugs down there on the bottom of the radiator are tight. I don't recall if I did that or not, but I'll go ahead and just double check that. But anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and continue on knocking out some of this list, starting with the throttle cable. Then I'll fill it up with coolant and go on from there. Okay, filled it up with coolant, and there's no leaks, so I'm really glad about that. Let me just double check. It's been about 30 minutes or so since I've looked. Still looks pretty dry, and yeah, it's a pretty big mess underneath there. Mostly tools, but there's no leaks, and that's the main thing right now, so that's good. I was somewhat worried about that. Okay, so let's go ahead and check some stuff off here. So we went ahead and filled it up with coolant and checked for leaks. That one's done. Yeah, none of this I'm doing today. Install throttle cable and support. That's checked. I'm not going to tighten the air filter yet. Everything else is kind of somewhat minor here. Install Radiator, install Undertray. Okay, yeah, most of this stuff is nothing, but I went ahead and started working on this when I hear support crankcase vent lines, and I spent a while on it, and this is pretty much everything that we need right here. this little radiator stay clamp, whatever you want to call it. I had a little bolt, I don't know where it went, right here. So this is everything that we're going to use to support our crankcase vent lines. 2 clamps, the radiator clamp, nut and bolt. So what I did was, and I tried to do this with one hand because I already had put it together and I had to take it apart for you guys. That's why it takes so long. So we went ahead, put this on like so around the radiator hose, clamped in there pretty nice. Slide it back a little bit. Okay, so we got it supported right here. Here's the clamp on the hose, and we have this little piece of tubing wide enough for another one of these clamps. So we'll go ahead and slide this one on like this. Just like that. Okay. And then we get our other clamp, come on the top of it. And then what we're going to do is clamp these 2 clamps together. That way it's all supported, just like that. So let me go ahead and run the bolt through there. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and set the camera down real quick so I get this thing started. Okay, so I have to move it around just a little bit. But it's going to be pretty much like this. Let me go ahead and tighten this bolt. Yeah, so this should be enough support for this little line, which isn't much. Its only purpose is just to vent the crankcase vapors. So it's gonna have to be like this, somewhat angled because of the hood clearance. It should clear like that. I don't know how you think it looks, but I really don't like it. I would like for them to kind of come at the same angle, but this one would just be a little too high, and I don't feel like rebending this tubing and whatnot, so I'm just going to leave it like that. Should be fine. But yeah, that's done. This is supported now. It's somewhat loose because it's the wrong clamp size, but still it's not hitting anything that will cause any damage to anything, so I'm pretty happy with that right now. So that's good now. We'll go ahead and check this off the list now. We got that finished. So that would be right here, support crankcase vent lines. That is done now. Alright, it's a different week now. I spent some time working on the car this weekend, and I was able to get some intake piping knocked out. The tack welding didn't really mean to get around to it, but I knew I had to. But this is what we're working with. It's kind of installed in there temporarily because I have to pull it back out and finish the tack welds, finish welding. It's just tack welded right now. But this is what it does look like. See down there, I have the password JDM housing removed. That way I can get to that bottom hose, silicone hose coupler down there. But it is finally done, and I'm extremely glad. And I still had time to finish up the short ram setup. This one's gonna be pretty simple. It's just gonna be just like this, and probably during the dyno I'll just stick it on here like this without having to worry about fabricating it into the housing just like that. So I would just have to untape this right here. It's just held on by tape, and then I would tape that on this end and attach the filter to that, and then that'll be my short ram setup. So intake piping is finally done. That was a major hurdle, and I already went ahead and checked it off the list. Which is right here, tack weld intake piping. That one is finally done. And I went to Home Depot earlier today, and I bought some 3.5 inch hose clamps, 3.5 to 4 inch hose clamps. So it's looking pretty good there. And then right now I'm to the point where I'm just gonna put all this together and just kind of leave it alone for now. So that part will be done, but I still have to weld in the IAT sensor bung, which is not a big deal, and I'm gonna leave this part of it not welded. That way I can attach this to the short ramp setup and just hold it on by tape, and then whichever setup does the best, I'll weld this to this pipe or this setup here, and I'm thinking it's going to be this one. I'm hoping it's going to be this one right here, because I like the way that one looks the best. Okay, we're going to go ahead and continue on knocking out stuff on the list. I'm going to put this together right here, and then probably what we'll do after that is remove the valve cover so I can get some lubrication on the cams and remove the plugs, spark plugs and whatnot, so it'll all be good now. But I'm gonna go ahead and set the camera up and put all this together right here. You can see how it goes together. It's kind of hard to get to that hose clamp down there, but we'll deal with it. Okay, so things are looking pretty good. We got the intake set up, bolted on. I just like this piece, which is welding in that IAT bung, but that should be relatively easy. Got the cooling plate installed, the hose clamps tightened down on the bottom of the intake piping. See, what else did I do? I did call Injector Dynamics. I just got off the phone with them, and they did say that it was okay for these injectors to be rotated just a little bit this way. Well, actually, it doesn't even matter. They said it's irrelevant. It doesn't really matter. So they did say that's okay. So things are looking pretty good. We're checking them off here. We still have to, let's see, we called the Injector Dynamics, so I made a check mark there. Got the cooling plate installed, and then right now I'll install this Undertray. And after that I could probably grind off a little bit of this plug, that way I can stick the decal on it just like that. And then just need gasoline, program it, wire in the intake air temp sensor, and then we're looking pretty good. I think we'll be ready for startup. Okay, I got the valve cover taken off already. Spark plugs look pretty good. They don't have too much run time on them. You might be able to see that, but it looks pretty clean. Everything looks pretty healthy inside there. The last run. But yeah, here are the DD Tech cams. Stage 2. They were built custom. I told him what I wanted and he got it done. Pretty impressive if you ask me. We pulled this off because I want to get some engine lube and put it all over the cams. Rotate it by hand slowly, put it on the chain, just kind of lube it all up right here because it's pretty dry. It's been quite some time since this thing has rolled over. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and I have pretty good access to the crank pulley. It used to be kind of a pain because the password JDM air power chamber thing was in the way, but it looks pretty good and pretty easy to get to now. So I believe I have some engine lube. If not, if it looks too old or whatever, I'll go get some new stuff. But I'll go ahead and put some on the cams, rotate it by hand, and it should be in good shape. Maybe once I put it back together, I'll crank it over without any plugs in it. Alright, found some lube. Some stuff I had laying around for a little while, but it should be good. Let's go ahead and pour it all over the cams, just like pouring syrup on pancakes. Make sure you get all the lobes real good. Let it drip down. Make sure I get right here where it thrust. Both sides. I'm not gonna go too crazy, but I'll make sure I put a good amount. Make sure I get the rockers as well. I know it's kind of hard for you to see, but you can just imagine. Get the valves. There we go. Should be good. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and turn this over real nice and easy. Got my 19mm wrench, and we'll just keep an eye on things and make sure everything looks pretty good and normal. Everything should be okay. You guys can watch some valve action. Alright, so I'm pretty happy with that. It's been over real nice and easy, pretty consistent the way it felt on the ratchet. Nice and lubed up now. Might not be as detailed for you guys to see it, but everything has lube on it now. So I'm going to go ahead and slap this valve cover back on. I'll let the plugs out, and then probably what I'll do is just crank it over. And yeah, crank it over. It's been a while since this thing's been energized like that, but we'll go ahead and do it. Alright, great. So we got the valve cover back on, everything connected to it. I think I need a different oil cap, not because this one's broke, but I think another one would look better. All in good time. But I did put on these neochrome up garage fender washers. We got them from Japan a long time ago. I just finally got around to putting them on, and you can check that video out. It's on my channel as well. So that's on there. Everything looks pretty good. Everything's tight. No spark plugs in just yet. I'm gonna crank it over without plugs and just make sure everything else gets lubed up nice and easy. I wanted to crank it over without any plugs in it. That way it cranks over a little bit easier on the engine. But I'll leave the throttle closed, that way it don't suck anything up. And I think it's ready to go. I connected the battery already, so we should have power. I might get a check engine light here and there, I'm not sure, but if I do, that's okay. I'll figure out what it is. But yeah, it's ready to crank. Let me just crank it over, and keep in mind that I don't have the fuel on, and the ignition will be firing, but there's no coils. So actually, I don't know if it will be firing because there is no coils or not, but we'll go ahead and give it a crank, see what it does. Alright you guys, that's going to be it. That's going to conclude part 15 of the S2000 upgrades. And finally we made it. I see the light at the end of the tunnel now. But I'm just going to wrap things up over here tonight. I was going to put the plugs in, coils, and the cover on top, and you know whatnot. But I will get with my tuner, and we're going to program the Haltech ECU. I have a steady flashing check engine light. I'm not sure what that's about just yet, but I'll look into that. But anyway, like I said, I'm gonna put the plugs in, all that, get it all wrapped up, and then get some gas, put it in there, and check for leaks. But yeah, thanks for watching guys, and stay up to date on my content, Grind to Garage, and let me know how you think this thing turned out. And like I said before, let me know what you guys think it's gonna make on the dyno. I'd like to see some guesses. But yeah, it's gonna be it guys. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for part 16 because we're gonna go for the startup.